bringing it to them all day. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Win or lose, we bringing it to you always. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Orange or black, we rebuild the pack. No matter where we at, you know we coming back. Section 336, we on this, so tune in. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Yeah, welcome to Birdland. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, the next generation of Baltimore sports talk. I am your endearingly southern host, Matt Soroka. As always, I'm joined with a guy who called the Baltimore Ravens mediocre, the button lover, Josh Soroka.
I never used the words mediocre. I said they're not great, and that was before they started playing well. That was before the last 6 weeks.
Okay.
Right now they're
so
great.
They're no longer, you're going back on what you said before, they're no longer below average, like you said before.
I didn't say below average.
Okay.
I said good.
Okay.
I said they're good, not great.
Okay.
That means they're good, not great. That means they weren't playing well football. That was before the previous 6 weeks. I think we can all agree that for the last 6 weeks, the team has been playing great and does not look like the team that played all the way up into Thanksgiving.
So you're officially reversing your position when you said they were a poor team before, and you're acknowledging that they are, in fact, a great team.
You know how Trump came out of the hospital after COVID and said he feels like he's Superman?
Yeah, stronger than ever.
Stronger
like
than
20
ever.
years younger.
Yeah. COVID did the same thing to the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
They went from good to great, and all it took was a little virus from the Chinese.
That's true, because just like Trump, rushed to Walter Reed Hospital, things did not look good. Things did not look good for the Ravens when COVID hit.
All right, and at that point, let's end the Trump comparisons and the political nature. It's probably not a good week to make jokes of comparing the Ravens to Trump.
Yeah. This story will hopefully have a better ending than that Trump story is having.
Right. I don't believe the Ravens are getting kicked out of the NFL this week.
Yeah, no, Josh, I'm just glad you're okay. I know. I saw a Florida man accused of taking the podium. I know that's your state now. So
No.
I'm not asking you to defend him, even though he came from the same state. But if he came from Maryland, I would feel the need to defend Maryland. But I'm not asking you to defend the whole state of Florida for some crazy people down there.
You know, speaking of defending Florida.
Yeah.
For one, we'll get to. This is the first time we've recorded in person together in a long time.
We're together, socially distanced.
We've got our 6 feet away.
Across, other side
probably 10 feet away. But this is also the first time we've ever recorded in your house.
Yeah.
We've never done a show over on the Eastern Shore.
Yeah, there's a 80% chance this recording is not going to work because over on the Eastern Shore, you just never know.
Right. Yeah, power might go out. We're counting on that generator out there working to keep your lights on.
That's right. And if a goat chews through it, we're done for.
Right. But what I was going to say is about being in Florida and Maryland, I always make sure to set myself apart that people know when I'm down there. I've been down there about 18 months, but I make it clear that I am not from Florida. I am not a Florida man. I separate myself from that.
Because you wear all the Maryland flag gear, Maryland flag T-shirts, Maryland flag.
I don't. I used
T-shirt.
to. All right, I used to not have any Maryland flag stuff, but this is the direction I'm going, and you didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I don't have any Maryland flag stuff. I did not have any Maryland flag stuff until recently, where I purchased a Maryland flag mask.
Okay.
So the Maryland flag mask is cool because, now...
Similar to the one John Harbaugh was wearing, but his was purple and black.
His was made for Santa. I wonder if he's hiding a big Santa beard under there or something. No, I'm traditional red, yellow, white, black.
And it's the gator?
No, it's the mask.
It's a mask.
It's an actual mask.
Okay.
So, anyway, and I wear it in Florida, which is cool because then people can look at me, and the fact that I'm wearing a mask sets me apart compared to everyone else in Florida.
Okay.
And then the Maryland flag says, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely not from around here."
Yeah.
Which is all cool.
But even the act of wearing a mask itself is probably a giveaway.
Right. That sets me apart a little bit. But then the fact that it's Maryland is cool, and I liked that because I didn't have any Maryland stuff, and I was like, "This is cool. This sets me apart down in Florida."
Sure.
So Friday I flew into BWI. Before I even got to the what's the conveyor belt? Baggage claim.
Yep.
7 other people wear Maryland flag masks.
Oh, wow.
In BWI alone.
Well, that makes sense, right? A bunch of people traveling into BWI, probably trying to rep Maryland from wherever they were flying from into BWI.
It reminded me of why I've never owned any Maryland flag stuff when I lived in Maryland.
Yeah.
Marylanders are a little obsessed with the flag.
Yeah.
And it's a cool flag. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But maybe in Maryland we wear it a little too much.
And we put it on too many things.
Oh.
That's my deal.
Yes.
Like, if you want to have a Maryland flag, have a Maryland flag.
But you don't need to make it purple and black.
And you don't need to put it on everything. Yeah, you don't need to color code it to fit every single whatever.
Yeah, you mentioned John Harbaugh's that he was wearing for the game today, and it was purple and black. Now, they've got the shield kind of has the Maryland flag in the Ravens shield, but that's traditional colors. The Ravens didn't try to change it up to match Ravens.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'll accept it in traditional colors. I'm okay with the crab magnet. I kind of get excited when I'm on 95 and see that down in Florida.
The Maryland flag crab magnet?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too.
But it's when it's
the bathing suit shorts, the border shorts that go too far for me. I don't want to see border shorts in the Maryland flag. I don't really get it.
So you don't like the Maryland flag bikinis either?
Oh yeah, the bikinis too. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's always weird to me how that stuff's like somehow like having an American flag like swimsuit is not like disrespectful.
Right.
Like,
but taking a knee is.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many other things, and it's like, right. So it's weird, but so I don't claim any ownership to the Florida man that was carrying the podium around.
Yeah, Josh, and I appreciate you're up here. Similar to football players in negative degree weather, wearing short sleeves. You come up to Maryland rocking short sleeves, showing you're a tough guy, even though you spent the last several months in Florida. So good for you.
Oh yeah, no, I have not adapted. I love the Florida weather. I don't check the weather report or anything when I'm down in Florida because it's always the same.
Yeah. But it's pretty mild. It's in like the 40s here in Maryland, right?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
No. I did not come to Maryland for the march. Let me just make that clear.
It just, the timing is suspect. But okay.
I came on Friday. I was not here on Wednesday.
Okay.
Check all my records. Check the records. I was on Wednesday. I was in Florida.
You have your location turned on Twitter. Well, I'll check your locations.
Yeah, you can track me.
Yeah.
I was in Florida. Let's just put that out there now because I know that's the joke everyone goes with.
Okay.
Because I know my flight was not very full, and I'm wondering if more people canceled their flights because they're like, I can't go to D.C. or Baltimore around this time.
Yeah.
So,
but no, you're here for the weekend. You came to watch the Ravens playoff game with me to see the Ravens whoop up on the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, I can say now that I came up to work on the Chad Duke show and help him because that show's coming out tomorrow, which is when our episode's coming out.
Okay.
So I can say I came up to build his studio. Because you guys, I've talked on here before about helping out Glenn Clark building that studio and all.
Yeah.
And I was working on
Josh has his fingers, like the mob. He's got his fingers in every podcast in Maryland.
I do.
And Virginia.
And it's good, and I enjoy it. And so I went this weekend to build the studio for the Chad Duke show. And when you talk about podcasts going to the next level,
yeah,
that's a daily show. It has like super professional equipment and nice cameras and all. It's a step above 336.
Yeah. It makes us realize, A, how terrible our show is, B, how profitable podcasts can be, even though ours is running for, 10 years now and has yet to turn a profit. That there is a thing that exists that's a profitable podcast.
We do it for
which makes us angry and bitter, I think.
We do it for passion and for fun.
Yeah.
And because we enjoy talking to each other.
And then, excuse to hang out. Yeah.
But man, it would be fun to do full time as a profession.
I'm not as convinced as you.
No.
That would be.
But I don't want. Well, here's the difference.
Yeah.
I don't want to go full time into radio.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. I want to go into full time as in you and I do the podcast and you and I talk whenever we want. If we want to talk an hour a day, that's fine. If we want to do one show a week, that's fine.
Right.
I want to just continue like we're doing.
And this is part of the nature of podcasts, though. Because like in college, I started off as a sports journalism major, and I wanted to write about sports. And I'm glad I got out of it, not only because the industry has not been what it was when I was in college, but I just thought about writing about sports all day, every day. Like, I don't really want to do that for a living. That would get old to me.
No.
And the nature of our podcast is it's definitely Orioles focused, and we'll talk about the Ravens a lot today. But thankfully, we also are allowed to talk about other things,
right?
Because we can do whatever we want.
No, I mean, we are the only Baltimore Orioles podcast that made it through life without sports.
Right.
Where we still had stuff to talk about.
Right. We still talked for an hour a week about whatever.
Yeah. Now, whether or not those podcasts stand out, now that we know COVID is a 9-month thing and not a 3-week thing, who knows? But we got through it.
Yeah. They probably don't. But our in fairness to us, our Orioles podcast probably don't stand up either. So
I mean, the Orioles have trained us to prepare for life without sports because what they've been putting on the field over many years was about the same.
Come June, we're just
exactly
in the heart of baseball season, having to come up with things to talk about because our team is so terrible.
Yeah,
and the off seasons, right? This is we've had a lot of uneventful off seasons. Like, we can cross our fingers and hope for a nice February signing of someone that will be traded later.
Right.
That's where we are as Orioles fans. No, but that's actually not true. I want to mention this. January 15th, I want to say. Do you know what happens January 15th, Josh? I'm 75% sure about that date.
Well, the 20th is when Biden becomes president.
Okay. That has nothing to do with the Orioles.
Well, the 15th is, I have no idea what the 15th means.
All right, I'm 90% sure that's when international free agency opens up. So,
wait, so you're telling me that this year the Orioles care about that?
They will be very active. Very active.
All right. Hopefully, I just hope we sign someone over the age of 14.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope we spend all our money, right? I hope we don't trade our money. I hope we don't just keep our money. I hope we don't roll our money into lining Peter Angelos' pockets. I just hope we spend all our money.
Right.
And it sounds like we are. I think this will be the most active international free agency period maybe ever in the history of the Orioles.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's good. That's exciting. And let's definitely break that down, I guess, next week, because it'll be after the 15th. We'll have something to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone signs on that day or whatever, but that's when it opens up.
All right, we'll definitely look into that. Now, you know what? Now's a good time to thank our Patreons. So last week, I put out a challenge before the show saying if we got 3 more Patreons to sign up, that we would cancel our deals with all the ads and the commercials that you hear, like before the show and mid-show and all that.
Which was ambitious of Josh because we have 2 listeners total. So asking for 3 Patreons was ambitious, but go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. So, we got 2 more. 2 people jumped on right away, and I want to thank them now. I want to thank James and Jen as our newest Patreons. And I want to thank them for coming on board. And encourage you also to come on board for $3.36 a month. I added some other options there, too. There's a $10 option and a $25 option also.
Okay.
$10, and we'll thank you at the end of every show as like a producer credit. Okay. You know how like the TV shows and stuff at the end list like people who basically just paid for making the show?
Yeah.
We'll do the same thing for anyone who does $10. And for $25, I didn't run this one past you, Matt.
You don't run any of this past me.
No, I don't.
I didn't run this one past you. Like, you ran the previous things you just said past me. But go ahead.
But you did like that I sent you a little check like last month or 2 months ago.
I think it was longer than 2 months ago. But
it was probably the end of baseball season.
Yeah, it was the end of baseball season.
And that was about a year's worth of work for a little bit of money.
Yeah.
But so the $25 a month is I put on there if someone really ambitious and wants to have their business sponsor our studio. And we have 2 studios. So you can sponsor the Eastern Shore studio or the Florida studio. So we can, so every day we can welcome you to the Your Business Name Here studio in St. Augustine, Florida. So that's
Josh,
another
I hope
option.
you never own the Orioles and you quickly put on sale Camden Yards to the highest bidder.
Have you been to Camden Yards? All right, Camden Yards did not do the naming rights.
Yes.
But there's signs all over the place. And hey, you know what? But here's the difference. I'm not going out and saying, my bookie, Jimmy's, whoever, come do this. I want a listener. So if we're going to name our studio after your random law practice or your CPA firm, I want it to be that we're representing a listener.
Yeah,
I don't want just someone with money.
Yeah, Judge, that's very noble of you. If my bookie knocks on your door and says, we'll give you a ton of money for naming rights, you'll say, no, my bookie. We're having local listeners only.
You don't listen to Film Study, do you?
No.
I do a 2-minute spiel on my bookie every single episode of Film Study. Use the promo code Ravens, then you're over on my bookie.
Yeah.
For Film Study, because Film Study did come over with a I was going to say a truck, but it's not a truck. Maybe like a Hot Wheels car full of money to give us to buy the rights to Film Study for this season. So if someone wants to do that on my bookie, you can do it, or on Section 336, you can do that through Patreon. But anyway, if one more person signs up for the $3 spread option, which gives you nothing but the enjoyment of helping us do this show, I'll remove those commercials.
Okay. I'm just happy we don't have to do that. Your balls will thank you ad anymore.
Yeah, and that's the goal with this. Is that's why we're pushing Patreon again. Is we don't want to do ads. Yeah. We went through the Manscaped thing, and we'd rather just talk to you, the listeners, and guys that appreciate it.
Yeah,
and people who want to hear us talk about the Ravens game.
Yeah, so let's get there and talk about the Ravens game. We watched it together. This is the first time watching a football game together, and
since week one.
Since when?
Week one.
Week one?
Yeah, we watched week one together. Remember, I came up and surprised Dad.
I don't even really remember that. But okay.
It was back in 2020.
Yeah.
Shortly after the XFL folded.
Okay.
Which also sounds like 17 years ago.
Only you would even understand the reference to the XFL folding.
It's because the XFL is the one that shocked me. Someone recently said to me, "When did the XFL try to reboot itself?" And I said, "I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago." And they said, "No, that was in March. Their season ended because of COVID." I was like, "Really?" It seems like it was an eternity.
It does seem like 10 years ago. Yeah, that's weird.
But yeah, so we got to watch Wild Card Weekend, which was a whole lot of fun for Raven fans. As we're recording this, the Bears and the Saints are fighting.
What just happened? Was that a replay of this game?
I don't know. I don't think so. No. Are they wearing different jerseys?
I don't know. They were throwing I don't know what happened. Maybe, but yeah.
I haven't kept up with Satan's Bears drama, but they're pretty angry. So I'm guessing maybe it happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. They were just showing a replay of a fight while we were recording, and Matt got completely zoned out.
Yeah.
As I was trying to set up.
That's what I thought was going to happen after the Ravens started stomping and dragging their feet all over the Titans logo. I thought maybe there'll be some...
Is that the only time that you've ever been excited for the Ravens to get a penalty?
No. There was that time... This is going back, I think the Patriots on like Sunday Night Football, back maybe 10 years ago, maybe longer than that, back Ray Lewis, where they were getting every call wrong, and maybe it was Suggs or someone took the yellow penalty flag and chucked it in the stands.
Yeah, no, that was Orlando Brown, wasn't it? Not Junior, but his dad?
No, it was a defensive player, I thought.
Was it?
I thought so. But anyway, right. I love that. I love chucking a yellow flag into the stands. But yeah
that's a good one.
There are rarely times when you get excited when you get a penalty.
Right.
But yeah, I'll take that 15 yards all day for stomping on that.
When it's for celebrating the fact that you just won the game.
Yeah.
That the game was that you knew now the game was under wrap.
Yeah. And going forward, I don't think the Titans or anybody else is going to come out and mess with our logo anymore.
Was there an issue with people messing with our logo besides the Titans?
I don't know. Juju, right?
Oh,
for the
that's
Steelers,
true.
Go around messing with everyone's logo.
All right, that's cool. Got it. In that case,
you have to defend your logo. You have to. And if someone disrespects your logo, you got to go and do the equivalent of urinating on their logo. You got to go back and take care of their logo as well.
When you say disrespect the logo, that's immediately what I think of is the Calvin and Hobbes stickers urinating on the Chevy logo
to say,
or whatever.
I own you or whatever.
Right.
This is what I think of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think,
have there been any issues with Juju or any other players urinating on our logo.
No, but I wouldn't mind any of those ones crawling around like a dog and lifting up the leg, kind of a symbolic peeing on. I would be a proponent of that.
I would like that celebration. I would have enjoyed that one today with the stomping.
Yeah, Josh, how the Ravens game played out. Big takeaways. Anything surprise you?
I mean, it's a great game to get those monsters off our back and things that people always bring up. The fact that Lamar Jackson now has won a playoff game. That's great. The fact that the Ravens have now won a game when they were behind 10 points. That's great. That's huge. It's Ravens and John Harbaugh's first playoff win in 6 years.
Yeah.
So it's like all those monkeys that were on our back.
Titans. We've moved past. Yeah, you can't beat the Titans.
Right. You can't beat the Titans. And now next week, we won't know until later tonight, but we either play the Chiefs or the Bills. So again, it's more things. Like, it's not easy, but the playoffs are never easy. It's what we got to do.
Yeah,
to get through this line.
Yeah, I thought it was great. The end of the game, there was a post-game interview conducted from the stands to the field, which is weird. But she asked, she started asking Lamar about how, the buildup has been about Lamar versus Derrick Henry. And before she even finished her question, Lamar cut her off and said, it's not about Lamar and Derrick Henry. It's about the Ravens. And the Ravens won the game. And I thought it felt very much like a team win. Right? And the defense played great. They shut down Derrick Henry. The secondary played well, made stops when they need to. The receivers, Marquise Brown. Raven fans complain about Marquise Brown all the time. And by Raven fans complain, Josh complains about Marquise Brown all the time.
This is his best game of the season, I think.
Yeah. And he had a great game. Ricard stepped out with some big catches and runs.
Yeah.
And Lamar was very good. So it was all around a great
and
team
the defense.
Win.
The defense was huge.
Yeah. I talked about Derrick Henry, stopping Derrick Henry, and
keeping Derrick Henry to 40 yards.
Yeah, super impressive.
Lowest of the season.
And you're right. It does all those narratives, specifically the narratives about Lamar Jackson, his inability to win the big game, his inability to win playoff games, his inability to beat good teams. Like, all of that is put to bed, and it doesn't really even matter as far as the Lamar Jackson narrative in the next round. He's kind of put these stories to bed, and now we can focus on getting to a Super Bowl.
Right. Now these really are and they're going to make them Lamar narratives, but it really is Ravens narratives, and it's going to be, can the Ravens get past the Chiefs?
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but maybe outsiders don't really realize it as much. One of Lamar's reasons he struggled is because his receiving core, right, at times let him down. Mark Andrews is known to drop balls in big games, in big spots. Marquise Brown has struggled
One of his top receivers today was Patrick Ricard.
Yeah.
That tells you everything you need to know about this wide receiver core.
Yeah, but the fact that Marquise Brown stepped up with some big plays, if Marquise Brown drops a couple of those balls, maybe we're not having this conversation and we're still talking about, can Lamar win the big game, right?
True.
Even though it really wasn't it was Marquise, right, who had to make those catches. Right. And so, it's football, right? Like, you can't do it by yourself, though Lamar, more than any other NFL player, probably does things by himself, like that big 60-yard run for a touchdown. But still,
except
you need other players.
That 60-yard run for that touchdown is thanks to our offensive line. Our offensive line was holding those guys forever to make that.
Sure, and then wide receiver blocking and stuff downfield.
Yep.
But then also Lamar just running past four people.
No, Lamar, what was the description they said in the game today? Lamar jukes without slowing down.
Yeah.
Lamar is special, and what changed, we joke about they came out stronger from COVID. What changed is they're now letting Lamar be Lamar. And at that point, they started to let Lamar be Lamar. Before that point, they were really, really, really trying to make him a passer, pocket passer first. Now, you didn't see many designed runs for Lamar until that point.
Yeah,
now there's a few every game.
Yeah, this is part of the nature of playoff football. We watched Josh Allen for the Bills yesterday. A lot more running than he did in the regular season because, you got to do whatever it takes to win the game. I was a little surprised. Dobbins, only 9 carries, 43 yards.
Because he wasn't getting anything done. Dobbins was struggling today.
Edwards, 8 carries, 38 yards. So they both combined for 17 carries and 81 yards. And then you had Lamar Jackson, who had 16 carries. So just one less carries than both of them combined. And he ran for 136 yards.
Right. Which was a big chunk of that was 2 runs.
Yep. 2 big runs. And that's typical for Lamar Jackson, right? He's going to have those breakout runs. And that's why his yards per carry is, through the roof. But yeah, and Marquise Brown, we mentioned it, 7 catches, 109 yards, just super impressive. And then Ricard, the stat line, I mean, talk about receivers. Marquise Brown had 7, 109. Snead had 2 catches for 9 yards. That was it from the receivers. The rest was Andrews and Ricard.
Right.
So just kind of really interesting looking at that. Which is more, I don't know, I think warrants more credit to Lamar Jackson for getting it done. And it's very little help.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's through hopefully free agency, because we don't seem to be good at drafting wide receivers, but it shows like that's a weakness that the Ravens really need to address.
Yeah, and we'll see. Like going forward, I would be surprised if we beat the Chiefs or the Bills with stat lines like that, with Ricard as your third leading receiver.
Who do you want to face? When this podcast comes out, you probably already know who the Ravens are going to face.
Yeah.
But at this point, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, do you feel more comfortable with the Ravens facing?
I mean, to be honest, I think we're going to have to play both of them. So it's just like, what order do you want to play them in, right? Because I think they're going to go on.
Right, because I don't see the Steelers or the Browns getting past either of them.
Exactly. And so I think it's going to be, I think whether we play the Chiefs now or there, I kind of like the idea of a Chiefs-Ravens AFC Championship game. Like, that sounds cool to me.
Yeah. So you're saying you want to play the Bills.
So I want to play the Bills.
And you want to save the Chiefs for last.
Save the Chiefs for last.
Okay.
Or the Kansas City football team, as I call them. And I do think, I think just because the history, the experience, for all those reasons, I'd rather play Josh Allen than Mahomes. Like, I think we have a better chance to beat the Bills, even though the Bills are good. They're all good at this point. But I think the Chiefs have the experience, and so I just would rather play the Bills.
Yeah, I hear you. I can see that. I think Josh Allen has been playing exceptional, but he didn't look unbeatable on Saturday.
No, the Colts made a lot of mistakes. I mean, the Bills were very close multiple times of losing that game to the Colts, who I don't think are a great football team.
Right. So that tells me that I trust this defense a lot. The fact that I was worried at the beginning of this game at first when we fell behind 10, because it looked like, what's his name? Tannehill is just going to pass on us because we made our whole game plan about stopping Henry. But the defense stepped up. And the defense made the plays and made the stops and ended up shutting down Tannehill and Henry both.
I mean, think about it. They started the game 10-0. The final score was 20-13.
Right.
And they only scored 3 points.
That's what I'm saying.
After they opened 10 points. I know. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. It's the first time the Ravens this season have gone to halftime tied, which was a strange stat to see. But yeah, they completely shut down that team after that.
And if you break it down by yards, I mean, we had total yards. We had over 400. They had just over 200 yards. So we had about double the amount of yards that they had. Our yards per play were higher. We had more passing yards. Rushing yards, forget about it. 236 to 51. So if you take a kind of a closer look into the stats, I mean, one of the crazy stats is in this game we had 13 rushing first downs. 13 rushing first downs. The Titans, with the best running back on the planet, had 1 rushing first down, and that was by Tannehill on the QB sneak. So that's pretty wild. So I think this was. I mean, I think this game, if you look at the stats, it wasn't even as close as a 20-13 game, right? Because they got off to that 10-0 lead, and after that, it was pretty much all Ravens.
Because before that 10-0 lead, the offense struggled, the defense struggled. Lamar threw that ball way behind Brown. I think that was Brown out there. May have been Boykin. But then, at that point, it all clicked, and it was Ravens game.
Yeah, and you got nervous a little bit with the Lamar interception. Like, oh no, here we go again.
And the missed field goal, everything was going against the Ravens until it all turned back.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. I'm with you. If you got to play both, let's play the Bills now. I just want to make sure that we're healthy when we do take on the Chiefs.
A lot of people, Josh, were complaining about the offensive pass interference on Snead and the lack of offensive pass interference for A.J. Brown. I think it's also worth mentioning that after the game, Coach Vrabel for the Titans
was about to cry.
Was first of all, if you watch his post game show,
it's the saddest post game show I've ever seen.
Depressing things you will ever watch in your life. Like it was just sad.
It was very sad. It was like a high school coach like getting beat in the finals or something. He must have had that team so hyped up that this is their year because he was defeated.
Yeah, a little bit jarring for the audience as we kind of feel super depressed with Coach Vrabel, and then we switch over to John Harbaugh and get to hear Jerry Coleman ask a question and then have his computer sound on in the background. So it became tragic to comedy real fast.
Yeah, we've never had Coleman on this show, and you and I both once we heard that
we haven't.
We have not.
Yeah.
And once we heard the person say, Jerry Coleman, you're next, we both just looked at each other knowing something was going to go wrong. And sure enough, it did. It was great. Nice to see Jerry make an appearance on ESPN.
Yeah, good for him. But no, I thought all around it was. Oh yeah, but actually about the penalties because Vrabel complained about the penalty calls. Like, and I don't really understand what specific calls he was upset about, but he was complaining about the refs, saying that they were kind of. I think his quote was they weren't calling anything; they just wanted to move on to the next round, so they made no calls.
Right, but isn't that how it goes? The refs, no one's ever happy with the refs. The refs, no matter what the refs do, people will always complain about them. Both fan bases
think they're screwed by the refs.
Everyone thinks they're screwed by the refs. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, everyone thinks it's rigged. People, it's not rigged. Calm down. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the penalties, we had 5 penalties for 60 yards. They only had 2 penalties for 10 yards.
All right, then maybe they weren't calling any penalties all game.
Yeah,
it was a pretty quiet game.
But if you watch the playoffs, I mean, there's just not a lot of penalties. They stopped this year calling a lot of the offensive holding calls. They're just, and I think it's better for football.
How about that weird play though, where we kicked the ball at the end of the second quarter?
Yeah.
We kicked the ball. The TV showed us with offensive holding, but they called a defensive hold before the kick,
right? And then
which gave us a first down.
But then it wasn't clear who had the first down. And then the ref had to come back on and say Ravens first down.
Right. But then it was before the kick, but they still don't add time to the clock. So it was just 5 seconds and we kneeled it. So it didn't affect anything except add confusion.
Yeah.
You know what they need is they needed the Nickelodeon announcers to come on and explain what was going on.
Yeah, I know. I would have liked to see the Nickelodeon announcers try to explain that.
Yeah. So we watched.
By the way, if that, and I'm still not sure if the punching incident between 2 players occurred live or if that was an old shot of another game. But
I don't know. But I did get a text message that the first curse word has gone out on Nickelodeon.
Okay, because the fighting too on Nickelodeon, I'm not sure if this is the message we want to be giving to kids either with the fighting.
I hope that when they showed that fight, whether it was old or live, I hope that they just used the slime cannons all over the fight.
Yeah, or maybe like you put a picture of a pie in one of the guy's hands, like he's pieing the other player or something.
And so
just a good old fashioned fun with the NFL players.
Yeah. So I think the Nickelodeon game was hyped up, really good, showing look, SpongeBob's going to be running down the field and all these draw-ins and stuff. And then they didn't do any of that during the game.
Josh, you recognize you're probably not the target audience for that Nickelodeon game. Or you think you are? Okay.
I know. Well, you and I watched the Nickelodeon game.
Yeah, we watched for a quarter.
Yeah, a quarter. Yeah. And the big takeaway was they had 3 announcers who have never announced the game, and one girl saying, "I've never been to a football game before."
Yeah, it was her first ever football game.
But I thought it was neat that they explained pregame on how scoring works.
Yeah, and I like the experience by the baby Sheldon explaining something on there.
Right, and that's what I thought.
And I like the field goal kicking with SpongeBob.
kind of. I don't like. They needed to do some way of like something different with SpongeBob. I like the idea of putting SpongeBob there, but
I think you can put. I mean, it seems like a waste opportunity. We should be putting a whole bunch of things between those goalposts.
they need to make adult versions.
Yeah, and
you're saying for CBS.
Maybe, yeah, and then you can have like different options. You can like hit it in the clown's mouth for bonus points or something.
Right,
I think there's a lot of potential there.
I think, yeah, and that's where you're saying let's forget the virtual SpongeBob. Let's make let's put a real like clown's mouth on the goalpost.
Yeah,
and depending if you get straight down the middle, you get 4 points.
Yeah, or it's just like in mini golf, you get a free round of mini golf if you get it into the clown's mouth. You should get a free something.
Yeah.
Free tacos for everyone.
We were reminded of mini golf during the first drive as the first down marker was sliding up and down.
Yeah, I mean, really, any NFL ideas that they can pull from mini golf, I think are great ideas. You should look to mini golf as the highest form of entertainment for all ages and pull more things from mini golf into the NFL game.
I really think that's the mistake the XFL made.
Not enough mini golf things?
The XFL tried to be just like football.
Yeah.
What they needed to do was weird things.
Like mini golf, yeah.
Yeah, like mini golf.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's any sports, like non-traditional sports, the best way they make them better is mini golf.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I can't think of any examples.
Oh, stop it. The premise between the, what's that, American Ninja Warrior show?
Sure.
It's like a mini golf course for humans.
Oh, you're right. Or like Wipeout.
Or like Wipeout's is the same idea.
And I guess that's very similar to like the catch, pitch, pass, catch, run, whatever they used to do in the Pro Bowl things, stuff like that. You're right. I like mini golf games. NBA does weird things where they mix things into that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'll give you that one. But I think the Nickelodeon was a little disappointing, but it's got potential, and I still think baseball should try something like that because I like the concept of trying to reach out to kids and teach kids. And football and baseball, both, they rely on like dads to teach kids how to watch this.
Right.
So like if you didn't grow up watching football, you have to sit there and learn the game. And I don't know, your husband, your wife probably doesn't want to teach you the game.
Yeah, I mean, baseball has done some stuff where like they have ESPN. This couple years ago they started 2 different broadcasts where you could do a very sabermetric analytics, which is kind of like the opposite of the Nickelodeon version.
Right.
And so they have tried for that kind of fan base, gearing it towards them. But that's already appealing to diehard baseball fans who be into this. We need like the reverse that appeals to kind of the average fan.
Yeah. You know how you watch a movie sometimes on like Netflix and you can choose like English or French or Spanish audio?
Sure.
They need to do that for sports where you can choose beginner, intermediate, extreme for your fandom, and then your announcers change geared towards that type of audience.
Yes. And then can you play it on 1.25 speed as well to just pick up the pace a little bit?
Just pick it up a little bit? Yeah, still waiting on that feature for live. Yeah. Holding out on Bert on that one.
All right. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think about, and our mind immediately always goes to baseball with these things because I mean, NFL is doing this stuff, and NFL is still killing it. It's still America's most popular sport.
I like that you're using the word "killing it" for the most dangerous sport.
Yeah.
NFL is on Nickelodeon, and someone could die today.
They're leading with the helmet in their covers. Like
exactly.
They are. But they're still. It doesn't keep them from trying innovative things.
Right.
And I think baseball, there's just so much time between pitches and stuff. So there's, I think, a lot you could do, a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Speaking of baseball, do you think we're going to get a full season this year? Do you think spring training starting in February? What do you think's going on with all that?
I assume everything is full go. I don't know about fans. I don't know when that will start to happen. But I think as far as players go, I think it's going to be full go for players. I think the vaccine thing is fascinating because even in the state of Maryland, you can bring up a map of Maryland and vaccines, and it's distributed by counties. And so some counties have given away or have administered like 100% of their vaccines, and other counties have literally administered 0%. Looking at you, Washington County have done 0% of their vaccines. And so, like, I think each state, right, is going to be at different levels of vaccinations. Some states are going to be really fast. So, like, as far as players, getting vaccinated? Like, can you go to a certain state who's like vaccinated most people and go to that state and get the vaccine? Will this be something different? Will MLB try to purchase vaccines for all their players? I think questions around the vaccine and like who gets a vaccine in general are fascinating questions about who gets a vaccine first, and at what point do they give it to baseball players, and what kind of talk around that is. But
you think that should, well, I don't know what you think.
Don't tell me what I think. I don't even know what I think.
Do you think Major League Baseball should stick out a bunch of money and buy the vaccine for all their players?
I think they should hire their own scientists to make their own vaccine. Now,
I mean, if countries can go out there and buy the vaccine,
yeah.
I mean, baseball is pretty large, bigger than some of these countries. So you would think they should be able to go out there and say, hey, Pfizer or Moderna, we'll buy the vaccine for you. And
or
then,
American government. Here's
Here's
$100 million American government.
Right.
But Josh, we both know all of that would be very possible, and baseball has enough money to do it. And financially, if it means playing a whole season, financially, it'd probably be worth it for them to do it. But the optics, they would never do it because of the optics. Because the optics
of Richie Rich getting the vaccine before you,
right? Before people who need it, before other people in other country. I know other countries. Like it just the optics of all of it would be,
and that doesn't even bring up the fact of baseball players turning it down.
Right. That'd be a whole
there's already a problem with people in the country.
Right, because you're not going to force anyone to take it.
Well, except that's their job. You could say, as a baseball player, you have to get it.
I don't know. I mean, they don't require healthcare workers to get it, even though their job is kind of working.
But I think, yes, but I think a private business could. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure there's exemptions, right? Like religious or whatever exemptions. I mean, I'm no lawyer, Josh.
I don't know.
My expertise is bird law. I don't really know much about this topic.
Right. I don't know. But you're right. The optics would...
But no, I think there'll be a whole season.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're learning to live with COVID.
We're watching the results of a whole full NFL season. Now, will it mean some players will get COVID still and you have to do this whole thing? Yeah. Like, I think that's going to happen. And you're going to miss games and do double headers and whatever.
Yeah, and baseball handled COVID better than everyone expected.
I think we'll do expanded rosters again. I'm curious to see what they do with minor league seasons and games. I think that'll happen, but...
Yeah, and you already invested. You already bought...
I got
tickets to the Bay Sox.
That's right. And I think because they benefit that they don't start in March, right? They don't start till, May? So I think they have a little more time.
Yeah, for spring training. Yeah, good. Or for minor league.
For the minor league season, just starts later.
Yeah, and I think spring training is kind of a bubble already. It's down in Florida.
Yeah.
So,
but there's people already down there training.
Yeah, and it's Florida. Florida, Texas, Arizona, where spring training is?
Right. More
or maybe not Texas. Maybe just
Arizona.
Florida, Arizona.
Yeah.
And I think both those states already have a lot more going on. The sun kills the virus and all that type of stuff. So
outdoor, you can social distance, you can stay outdoors.
You can do all your stuff outdoors. So all your meetings and everything. So I'm excited for baseball season, especially since we've had football, and even with positive COVID tests, I feel like the cancel the season people shut up.
Yes. But I mean, I think those people are gone now, right?
I mean, they show
their say.
They wave their hands around every time someone's positive, but then they get told.
Fewer and fewer of them.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they realize we're playing through this.
Yes.
And fortunately, I think in major sports, we've avoided any huge tragedies as far as a player dying from COVID. And so that, I think, if something like that happened, it would change everything, I think. But it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So we continue.
Did you see about the guy who works for the Angels and
Mike Trout?
No. He was like a ball attendant
scuffing the balls.
And putting substance on the balls.
Yeah.
Did you see that a former Oriole was on that list of people who used the substance blend on the balls?
Well,
he liked
Justin
his balls
Verlander is
sticky.
not a former Oriole, so I'm saying Dylan Bundy.
It is Dylan Bundy.
Right, yeah.
You have any problem with pitchers putting crap on balls?
I do.
Do you think it really affects the game?
I think it helps them to pitch better. Yeah.
So how do you think the Major League Baseball should handle this?
They should.
How do you handle this better than you handled steroids?
Yeah, I don't think this is steroids. I think everyone does it, and I get the argument that it helps pitchers control the ball better with throwing 100 miles per hour. But I think like you shouldn't do it because it gives one player an advantage who has the ball as opposed to another advantage. Also, like I don't really fully understand it. So they're scuffing the baseball, but they go through like 50 baseballs in an inning.
No,
like,
I think they were rubbing a substance on the baseball.
Right. When the pitchers were? Because I thought they were wanting this guy to get the ball or something. I was like,
I thought the ball attendant was doing it.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, yes, everyone does it, but I don't think they should do it. If you can't control your 100 mile per hour fastball, then don't throw it 100 miles per hour. I think pitchers have enough advantages. I don't think they also need to be scuffing baseballs. So I think to handle it, just tell people to stop doing it and try to discourage it.
Wash the balls before every game. Wash the balls.
Wash the balls. I mean, it's not like he was going. It's not like Deflategate. Like he was open about it. Other teams knew it. Like everyone kind of knew it. So he's suing because he's saying like you're blaming for me for this, and I got fired for it when everybody knew this was happening for years. So
kind of similar to steroids, like an inside dirty secret of baseball.
But I think it's much more talked about than steroids was. Like steroids, everyone knew, but no one really talked openly about it.
All right.
I think people talk openly about scuffing baseballs.
Okay, among players.
Even reporters.
Okay.
Like, watch any reporter's reaction to that story. Like, oh, yeah, everyone does it.
Right. But that was kind of the story about sign stealing until you add the technology and the bang in the trash
Right.
cans.
So the question is, and certainly, like, there's certain things you cannot do to the baseball. Right? Like, I don't know what that is, but something's going too far.
Yeah, I don't know. Like cutting a chunk out of the baseball.
Yeah, like there's a limit here. I think that's the whole thing with sign stealing too. Like, yeah, everyone can do it, but like there's kind of these written, unwritten rules again.
Right, because we've always seen, it's just like the pine tar. You're like, oh, well, you can't only use a certain amount of pine tar, whether it's on your bat or on your hand. Yet you look, and helmets and like rims of baseball hats are all covered in pine
like
tar.
Michael Pineda was like getting a gouge of it. They're like, okay, we got to do something here.
Right.
But then no one really wants to say something because they know their guy's doing it too.
And then, but then you're like, oh, well, you don't set that limit because, you can't really measure what is like 2 fingers off the brim.
Exactly. It becomes just a slippery thing that everyone does, so how do you fight it? But I think they should not do it because I think baseball should try to be as objective and as fair as possible. And that, just use the baseball.
But baseball is also a game where the rules are different in every stadium.
Yeah.
Like every field's different, and that's what we love about baseball.
Yeah.
So it's trying to figure that out. And
I mean, even the bats, right? Like bats are different length, bats are different weights.
Yeah.
Bats are different. They use different rosins.
It is like
Sammy Sosa puts cork in it. Whatever.
right. Exactly. It's different weights, different lengths. But there's limits. Because that's what makes baseball great is football, soccer, basketball, every field court's the same.
Yeah.
Uniforms are pretty much the same. Gear is pretty much the same. I mean, you can inflate and deflate your balls slightly differently.
Right.
But it's all pretty much the same. And baseball, there's so many different variables beyond just the human variables.
Right.
That makes it cool. So that's just...
and this is kind of the endless battle. But I think the baseball should not just give up and say, oh, everyone does it, so we won't do anything about it. I think it's just kind of the constant battle that you have to have, but that you should fight.
Well, right. Is there cheating in baseball? Fair. Always.
Yeah.
Is there cheating in every sport? Yes. Because what's the saying? Find a way to win the game.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to your advantage, it's the Bill Belichick way. He's going to try to find a way to bend a rule until he gets caught or told not to.
Right.
So if it means renting a lift to videotape practices, there's no rule that says you can't be in the parking lot.
Well, yeah, and there's so many things with baseball. There's so many gray areas like we just talked about. And so, they're going to push the envelope on those gray areas whenever they can.
Yeah.
But baseball should still try to stop it.
They should.
But I think this guy's going to win his suit that's suing. I think he's going to win.
Maybe.
He'll settle for a good chunk of change.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen is none of these lawsuits ever actually go to court. They settle out early.
Yeah.
And baseball just pays them to shut up. And this guy, the story came out, though, in January, which is a great time to say, baseball, pay me now, because you don't want this as a story when you're going to spring training.
Yeah, do you know what he's suing for?
Money.
Yeah, maybe how much?
I don't know. It'd be funny if he was suing for something besides money, though. But
like a signed Mike Trout baseball bat?
Right. People only sue for money. Yeah, or like an apology.
Yeah, but and like people always, it just like the numbers are always usually bizarre. Like he's probably suing for. I was trying to think of the money because he's probably suing for like more than he would ever make in his career at his job, but he's suing because he got fired.
Right. So he's suing for multiple
he's
years.
seeking $4 million in damages.
Well, his name got trashed.
So it's not like he could work his entire career and not make $4 million.
I know. But he might get that break, and now he's got no chance of getting that break.
Getting what break could he get as a baseball attendant that would get to the point of $4 million?
I don't know, but you got to remember also that the lawyers probably take 3 of that $1 million.
Oh, is that the rate, Josh?
I think I don't know any lawyers, and I'm sure we probably have some lawyers that listen. So sorry, lawyers, that I assume you just rip off your clients. But I also know that I see all the billboards in Florida, so I know you don't charge me unless we win.
There you go.
So I'm sure you got to rip people off because of the ones that you lose.
All right, let's get out of the podcast on this. How, at this point, Josh, how optimistic are you about the Ravens going to the Super Bowl after watching the game today? How optimistic are you feeling about a Super Bowl victory?
I think this team's really good right now. I feel very optimistic.
Is the Super Bowl good?
Here's the deal. I feel very optimistic. I think this team is competitive. I think this team has a chance to beat the Bills, has a chance to beat the Chiefs. Not too worried. But as that game gets closer, whether it's the Chiefs or the Bills, I'm going to get nervous about the game.
Yeah.
Because those are good teams.
Yep.
We've seen
the best.
We've seen extremely bright flashes from the Ravens. This defense has been great at stopping the ball. Yep. It took until the fourth quarter to get an interception. The turnovers have slowed down recently, but they still got it. Yep. And they still shut it down. So I'm all in on this team. I think we could win it all. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be going into either of these games super confident. I'm going to put some money on my bookie, on the Ravens, whatever the line is, because I think the Ravens can do this.
I don't think the Ravens would be underdog against the Chiefs. I would imagine
they're going to be underdogs about both.
The Bills.
Yes.
Probably like a field goal underdog.
Because the Ravens are going to be the away team. They're going to either Buffalo or Kansas City.
We were away this week and we were the favorite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're the better team. Right. But the Bills and Chiefs on paper are better.
I don't know if that's true.
I think that's true.
Okay.
I mean, they're definitely better.
Chiefs are better. I don't think the Bills are better on paper.
On paper, they got a higher seed. They won their division.
Oh, record-wise.
Yeah.
Sure. But if you line up my talent versus your talent, I'll take my talent over your talent.
I wish Stephon Diggs was on the Ravens.
Yeah, I know.
It's really nice to see a wide receiver that can catch the ball.
Yeah, I know. He's great.
So
I think that's going to be a fun matchup. Him and Humphrey going at it.
So yeah, I'm feeling real confident about them, but I'll still be nervous going into the game and play-by-play. How about you?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like we've seen Lamar open the game with interception. Like I don't think you can make mistakes against the Bills and Chiefs. Like one interception, one fumble, that could be it, right? Like that could be the difference between winning and losing those games. A missed field goal. So I think we have to play our best football. So yeah, I think we can win, but I also think we have to play our best football, which we weren't in the first quarter, but we were for the second, third, and fourth quarter. So we got to play like that. And so yeah, I think these games are kind of at this point are coin flips, where it could come down to one turnover or kind of one big play. It's
going to be the big play or the stupid play, the mistake. Whoever makes the bigger mistake or a big play, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't come down to the refs.
Yeah. So now, Matt, I came up here for the wild card game with you.
Josh. Yeah, no.
If the Ravens make the Super Bowl, you coming down to Florida?
Oh, for Super Bowl?
Super Bowl?
I might think about it.
I mean, you come down to me, we're within driving distance of Tampa.
Yeah?
I don't know if that does any good in a COVID year.
I don't know if he'll have any pregame festivity. That's like 2 weeks of festivities normally.
Right.
I don't know what. Yeah, what. Yeah.
So I don't know what they do with the COVID if they have like the NFL experience or anything.
Yeah.
But maybe we watch the Super Bowl. You come on down. We watch the Super Bowl together on TV.
Yeah, all right. I'll consider it. Well, the Ravens got to get there first.
Yep. That's how it goes.
All right. Well, boys and girls, thanks for listening. Josh, it was fun to be in person again. We should do this in person again sometime.
Yeah, this is fun. Yeah. We should have done this. This is 401. This is number 401.
So to celebrate 401, we got back together in person. Did the pod. Check us out, guys. First of all, sign up for Patreon if you haven't done it yet. Go and do that now.
section336er.com.
Yep. You can follow us on Twitter and hear about that as well. Section 336 Show on Facebook.
What about your Parler account, Matt?
Has been suspended. Don't get me started about that, Josh. Big Tech is trying to limit my freedom.
They're trying to shut down Section 336.
They're trying to shut down Section 336. But yeah, thanks for listening, boys and girls. You can follow me on Twitter at Section 336. You can follow Josh on Twitter
at Josh Soroka.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go Ravens.